The Denver Broncos are facing a pivotal moment at the inside linebacker position as they head into the 2025 season. With Cody Barton, Justin Sternad, and Zach Cunningham all set to become unrestricted free agents in March, the team is left with just 3 inside linebackers under contract for next year. But even that number comes with uncertainty. The most prominent name among them is veteran Alex Singleton, a seasoned presence on the field. However, there are serious questions about his future. Singleton, now 31 years old, is recovering from a torn ACL, a significant injury that could impact his performance. Financially, the situation is just as complex. While he is currently set to carry a $6.9 million cap hit in 2025, the Broncos could save $5.58 million by moving on from him. That means Singleton's place on the roster is anything but guaranteed. Even if he remains in Denver, there's no assurance he will return to the same level of play that made him a key defensive contributor. Beyond Singleton, the outlook remains murky. Drew Sanders is the second linebacker under contract, but an asterisk hangs over his role. Will he play primarily as an inside linebacker, or will the Broncos shift him outside? After dealing with injuries, Sanders saw limited action in 2024, logging just 18 defensive snaps over 4 games. His development and positional fit remain a storyline to watch. Then there's KJ Cloyd, the third linebacker under contract. Cloyd signed a reserve future contract with the Broncos in January after spending 2024 on the practice squad. While he has the potential to carve out a role, he's far from a lock for the 53-man roster. If he does make the team, his primary contributions will likely come on special teams and as a rotational backup. With this uncertain depth chart, one thing is clear. Denver must make significant moves to strengthen the inside linebacker position. Even if the team decides to bring back Barton, it's evident that reinforcements are needed. Will the Broncos look to free agency, the draft, or a potential trade to fill the void? The answer could shape the defense's success in 2025. What do you think the Broncos should do? Should they keep Singleton despite the risk, or should they move on? Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Maybe even just type linebacker uncertainty to let us know you made it to the end. And if you enjoy this kind of deep dive into your favorite team, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps grow our community and keeps the conversation going. In an offseason that was filled with subtle but strategic moves, the Denver Broncos managed to bolster their roster through a series of key signings. Their 2024 free agency brought in a variety of contributors, particularly for their elite defense. Veterans like Brandon Jones, Malcolm Roach, and Cody Barton were welcomed to the Mile High City, and they all added depth and experience to a defense that's been a team strength. The Broncos, however, faced a tricky financial situation with a limited salary cap, forcing them to be selective. Despite some notable successes, the Broncos had a few missteps, and none more glaring than the acquisition of wide receiver Josh Reynolds. The decision to sign Reynolds, who agreed to a 2-year contract with more than $4.2 million in guaranteed money, quickly became a point of contention. Pro Football Focus, a trusted resource for NFL analysis, dubbed the signing the Broncos' worst free agent move of 2024. According to PFF's Dalton Wasserman, Reynolds was a non-factor in Denver, catching just 12 passes for 183 yards and a touchdown before being replaced by more productive players. His brief tenure in the orange and blue ended when he was waived in December, a casualty of the team's roster management decisions. The veteran wideout was ultimately released after the Broncos gave more playing time to younger players like rookies Troy Franklin and Devaughn Vell, whose emergence made Reynolds expendable. The problems for Reynolds began almost immediately. Upon joining the Broncos, he faced stiff competition from the rising stars in the wide receiver group, and his involvement on the field quickly diminished. To complicate matters, Reynolds suffered a hand injury in the middle of the season, placing him on injured reserve. Just when it seemed like he might be able to return, the situation took a darker turn. He was injured in a shooting incident, further sidelining him and keeping him out of action for an extended period. When December came, it was clear that Reynolds' time in Denver was over. He had posted lackluster statistics, and despite a promising contract, his contributions were simply too minimal to justify keeping him on the roster. Head coach Sean Payton acknowledged the situation, noting that it became a numbers game as players returned from injury and younger options proved their worth. While Payton expressed gratitude for Reynolds' efforts, it was clear that the Broncos needed to make room for those who had been performing better. Reynolds, who was 30 years old when he signed with the Broncos, finished his season with just a single reception during a short stint with the Jacksonville Jaguars after his release. It's a sobering reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in the NFL, especially when injuries and unexpected setbacks alter a player's trajectory. For the Broncos, it was a move that failed to pay off in the way they had hoped. As the Broncos continue to refine their roster under Peyton's leadership, the team's focus will remain on finding the right mix of veterans and youthful talent. They learned the hard way that sometimes even the most well-intentioned signings can go awry. And to keep up with the latest news and analysis on the Broncos, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about the Josh Reynolds signing? Was it a necessary risk or did the Broncos get burned? Let us know.